Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 11th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 223. This is a time machine episode, and, well, we're going to be talking about a robot crab meets its fate. A pyramid lands this side up. Former Google exec says AI dystopia is inbound. Video game magazines online for free. Solar plane altitude with attitude. Suing Microsoft for extended support, small developer Steam sale celebration, GPT-5 is not for advanced users, Space Invaders, the movie, and AOL discontinues its dial-up. Talk about momentum. Yeah. Everything's powered by ohmTown. Go over and check it out. Yes, I guess this is working now, right? Yeah. Weird. Anyway, I'm changing things up because the visualizer is tied to a quantum computer and it needs to process information in a different way. Well, at any rate, let's get into this. This is what ohmTown looked like at the end of August 11th, before it became August 12th. I'm in a time machine going back in time to make up for the days where my mayoral duties kept me from doing the shows. This article is over in Non Sequitur News. Robot crab meets terrible fate when its true nature is discovered by real crabs. Where they show up, they say, I am. I was going to do uh, the Fantastic Four, right? So they discovered this fake crab, and I guess the real crabs decided they were going to do something with it in a paper published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society B, because it didn't get to the A. It's a B paper, I guess. Animal behavior researchers from UK University of Exeter detailed the embarrassing end to their experiment with Wavy Dave, a 3D printed Bluetooth-controlled crab bot trained to wave at its fellow crustaceans. Known for having one claw that's bigger than the other, fiddler crabs not only wave their large pincers to attract mates, but actually hold diminutive competitions during their mating season, in which the females choose those claws, or whose claws are biggest. Yes, seriously. And wave the fastest. So the article is over at Futurism. It's in a section that they call Crab Wave, and the deck statement says wrecked. It's an article by Noir Al-Sabai. And known for having one claw that's much bigger, these fiddler crabs wave their hand around and say, yo, what's up? You up? And the scientists already knew that male fiddler crabs will, as the lead study author Joe Wild said in a statement, adjust their displays if rivals are nearby. Less was known about exactly those males do in response to the rivals themselves, and to test it out, Wild, who is now at the Biomathematics and Statistics Scotland lab, and his Exeter colleagues took Wavy Dave out for a spin during fiddler crab mating season in the mudflats of Portugal's Ria Formosa Natural Park. Initially, the crabs, or initially the males left Wavy Dave, alone, possibly because his larger claw was bigger and therefore more likely to win the attention of females or pose a threat than their own. At some point, however, the females realized that the robot was a bit odd, which led to some of the male fiddlers to confront them. They're like, come at me, bro. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out so well for Little Crab Robot. One male broke Wavy Dave by pulling off its claw, the lead author wrote. Had to abandon that trial and reboot the robot. If you own a shop and your rival starts selling things that are really cheaply, you might have to change how you run your business. The same might be true for males signaling to attract females, and our study suggests males do indeed respond to competition. The male fiddler crabs who took Dave down have subtle ways of adjusting how they act to compete in a dynamic environment, investing more in the signaling when it's likely to be the most profitable. Yeah, that's exactly how drunk bar fights start. The next article is over in RealityHacker. This new pyramid-like shape always lands with the same side up. The tetrahedron is the simplest platonic solid. Mathematicians have now made one that's stable only on one side, confirming a decade's conjecture that it is a cat. The tetrahedron is a cat. Well, I mean, it has a center of gravity. I mean, no matter which side you put it on, it has a center of gravity that pulls it over towards that place. Because they put this one little thing. So it's kind of interesting. It's basically, if you're listening to this via the podcast, they've got a metal plate in one of the facets, and so it flops over, so that thing is always down. So it might be surprising that millennia later, mysteries still surround the simplest shape in Plato's polyhedral universe, the tetrahedron, which has just four regular faces. The great mathematician John Conway was interested not only in how tetrahedra can be arranged or rearranged, but also in how they balance. In 1966, he and the mathematician Richard Guy asked whether it was possible to construct a tetrahedron made of a uniform material with its weight evenly distributed that can only sit on one of its faces. If you were to place such a monostable shape on any of its other faces, it would always flip to its stable side. So a few years later, the duo answered their own question, showing that this uniform monostable tetrahedron wasn't possible, but if you were allowed to distribute its weight unevenly, you would be able to get just that. So in 2022, Almaty, then an undergrad aspiring to become an architect, enrolled in Domokos's mechanics course. He didn't say much, but Domokos saw in him a hard worker who was constantly in deep thought. At the end of the semester, Domokos asked him to concoct a simple algorithm to explore how tetrahedra balance. When Conway originally posed his problem, his only option would have been to use pencil and paper to prove, through abstract mathematical reasoning, that monostable tetrahedra exist. It would have been almost prohibitively difficult to pinpoint a concrete example, but Almaty, working decades later, had computers. So he brute force searched through a number of possible shapes. Eventually, Almaty's program found the coordinates for the four vertices of a tetrahedron that, when assigned certain weight distributions, could be monostable. Dun, dun, done. There you go. And this is the Gombach, developed or discovered in 2006, can only stand on 2 points, one stable, the other unstable, and no matter how you roll it, it always rolls back to that one stable. So pretty interesting. What's the purpose though? The next article is over in the Wanted channel. The world will enter a 15-year AI dystopia in 2027, according to a former Google exec, Mo Gaudat. Mo got it. Thinks that the next 12 to 15 years will be dark, not because of robots, but because of our own stupidity. I think it's Yildirim put the article together over at Gizmodo.com. They say we will have to prepare for a world that is very unfamiliar. Got it. Said in an interview on the Diary of a CEO podcast, adding that humanity's key values like freedom, human connection, accountability, reality, and power are all facing major disruption by AI, hence the reason why I, MayorWatt, created RealityHacker. And this dystopia isn't far off. We have already started seeing signs of it, at least this year, and we'll continue to see an escalation of signs next year. The beginning of the descent into Goddard's dystopia, he predicts, will begin in 2027 and last for the next 12 to 15 years. Because it's completely within our hands to change that, but they have to say that they don't think that humanity has the awareness at this time to focus on it. But Goddard says AI is not necessarily the main driver of this dystopia, and especially not in the way most people imagine, that is existential risk from scenarios that have AI assuming full control. But I don't know. I think that there's a technocracy that is brewing, but it's a little bit darker than that. And I'm not going to get involved in its discussion here, but let's just say that. things aren't looking all that great for everyone. Less so for further people away from the peak. Anyway, artificial intelligence was not developed to usher in a dystopia. In fact, it was rather a utopic mission. By further automating mundane tasks, AI has the potential to ease the workload of millions of people worldwide. But people are working for a living. They're not working just to be, doing mundane tasks. They're working to put food on the table and pay for their mortgage and so on and so forth. I think that's the thing that we've lost. In all this effort, zeal to use automation, we're losing humanity. And it's the rise of sociopathy. Let's keep moving though. The next article is over on WarCrafters. One of the first ever American video game magazines is now available online for free. Computer Entertainer, which ran from 1982 to 1990, surviving even the dark ages of the video game industry collapse, is now completely digitized and available to the public under a Creative Commons 4.0 attribution license. Most console game magazines in the US went out of business during the 83-84 industry crash, except this one, notes the VGHF, the Video Game History Foundation. So now you can actually get it. Computer Entertainer ran from 1982 to 1990. Jonathan Bolding over at PCGamer.com put the article together, but now you can go and get it. I think there's a link to it, but we don't do knock on links. So go over to PC Gamer, read more about this, and check it all out. I mean, it's a bygone age. It's basically 43 to 45 years old, no, about 43 years old. Anyway, Computer Entertainer, math art. Computer Entertainer was technically a newsletter run by and for Video Takeout, a mail order retailer of video games based on in Los Angeles. Because it was run by a game retailer, notes the VGHF, the magazine is one of the only reliable sources of American game release dates during this period. The magazine was co-edited by sisters Mary Lou Badeau, and Celeste Dolan, from whom the VGHF acquired not only bound print copies of the magazine, but also the intellectual property to Computer Entertainer outright, which enabled them to release it under a Creative Commons license. So good for the VGHF. Let's keep going. The next article is over on Technology Today. Swiss pilot takes big step closer to solar plane altitude record. Swiss pilot Raphael Damjan got within around 1,000 meters of setting a new altitude record in a solar-powered plane, 1,000 meters. In a solar-powered plane on Sunday as he chases the goal of breaking the 10,000 meters barrier. The article is over at techexplore.com. Alexander Pohl put the article together, and it's a solar-powered plane, which is spectacular. Self-described eco-explorer Damjan, who is 53, flew the Solar Stratos electric plane to an altitude of 8,224 meters in a flight lasting around 4.5 hours. His team told reporters after he landed back at the Sion airport in southwestern Switzerland. Damjan is aiming to get to the 10,000 meter or beyond mark, flying at the same altitude as airliners. The warm-up flight on July 31st got to 6,589 meters, the highest ever for Solar Stratos. The current record sits at 9,235 meters, set by a Solar Impulse experimental airplane flown by Swiss pilot Andre Borschberg in 2010. So pretty cool. All of it is just kind of electric. It's not kind of electric. It almost looks like it's a glider, but it has a propeller. It says, and a double electric motor, 50 kilowatt continuous, 70 kilowatt max. Pretty fascinating. Onward and upward, so they say. The next article is over on WarCrafters. A guy in California is suing Microsoft for discontinuing Windows 10, demanding free extended support. I agree. If you're dreading the end of Windows 10 in October, you're not alone. One person from San Diego is taking Microsoft to court over its choice to discontinue Windows 10, stop killing operating systems, I guess, claiming that Microsoft is forcing people to buy new devices and attempting to monopolize the generative AI market. The plaintiff, Lawrence Klein, argues that Microsoft should continue supporting Windows 10 free of charge until Windows 10 users make up 10% or less of all Windows users. It's an interesting arbitrary value there. I'm not quite sure why that is. Stevie Bonifeld put the article together. It's over at PCGamer.com. Client's complaint filed in San Diego states Microsoft's stratagem was to use its dominant position in the OS market to achieve a dominant position in the market for generative AI. It did this by forcing customers to purchase new devices or face financial repercussions if they did not, and running Windows 11, thereby ensuring a large user base that would access this product by default. The complaint goes on to highlight the risk of discontinuing Windows 10. With only 3 months until support ends for Windows 10, it's likely that many millions of users not only buy new devices or pay for extended support. These users, some of whom are businesses storing sensitive consumer data, will be at heightened risk of a cyber attack or other threats. Dun, dun, dun. Copilot, by the way, they talk about Microsoft's push to use Windows 11 adoption as a campaign to get customers to ditch their older PCs but perfectly functional Windows 10 devices and purchase Copilot PCs. You can get Windows 11 and disable Copilot. Copilot, though, is OpenAI ChatGPT because Microsoft and OpenAI are basically buddy-buddy as Windows, Microsoft injected close to $14 billion into OpenAI now. The next article is over in WarCrafters. Steam has a sale celebrating small developers, and you can get the authors, not mine, but authors, favorite post-Balatro deck builder for only $2. I don't know if you still can. Let me look real quick. I think it's in 4X Fest now, which isn't the small developer thing. But anyway, you don't want to miss Steam's Tiny Teens sale. So I don't know if it's Tiny Teens still. Hold on, Tiny Teens. Yeah, I don't know. So you can get a bunch of stuff. No, I don't know. I don't know. Because this is a weekly show, because of the Time Machine episode, my quantum computer is calculating the future, so I can't actually see what that thing is. At any rate, the highlight of this sale is that all games are available for $20 or less. The Balatro Light Deck Builder, Aces and Adventures. So let's see if it's still available. Aces and Adventures are still available in for $2. Yeah, I already have it in my library though, so go and check it out. It's usually $20. Dun dun dun. I'll have to gift that to a couple of people. All right. Well, anyway, the highlight of the sale is all of the games are for $20 or less, so go and check it out. The article is over at PCGamer.com. Stevie Bonifeld put the article together. Save on games and support small dev teams at the same time, now through August 14th. So even if I wasn't in my time machine, you would still have a day. If you think searching for new games to try out, but don't want to take the break or don't want to break the bank, you won't want to miss Steam's Tiny Teens sale live until August 14th. Dun dun dun. There are also some great deals in the horror genre, like Pager, a new psychological horror game about climbing the corporate ladder, Phasmophobia, Gale and Tale Tavern, the RPG, which hilariously blends Skyrim, West of Loathing, and Superland while poking fun at tropes of the genre. Then there's Aaron Shore, a single-player RPG designed to look like an old-school MMO, complete with other simulated players. Says it's perfect for scratching that old-school RuneScape itch, which you can do anyway. But I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Aaron Shore. Yeah, it is $17.99. But it's single player, but it looks like it has a whole bunch of other players. Very positive rating too. Interesting. Let's keep going. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. GPT-5 is meant for the casual user, not for the advanced user. Here's why that's an upgrade. OpenAI released ChatGPT-5 this week, the latest iteration of its flagship model. It's a jump in general intelligence and routes tasks to the right model to improve user experience. It says it makes that decision for you. The article is over at Business Insider. Lakshmi Varanasi put the article together. So yeah, it has different models, and then it funnels the response through a different model to output whatever the content might be. And if you are, I guess, a cold and callous person, it'll respond with a cold and callous response. But if you want something friendly and open and embracing, then it'll respond in kind. One of the features OpenAI executives and AI experts are most excited about is what OpenAI calls real-time router, a system that selects the most appropriate model to handle each user request. It's a leap because it means the average user who might not understand when and why to use a specific model no longer needs to worry about it. This makes GPT-5 the most user-friendly release yet. Previously, you had to deal with the model picker in ChatGPT, but now it'll do it all for you. The benefit is that GPT-5 abstracts all of that, so it makes a decision for you, and it's actually a smarter model. Let's keep going. The next article is over on Technology Today. The Space Invaders movie is apparently still happening. According to Deadline, Ben Zozov and Evan Turner, the Outlaws, are now on board to write the movie for Warner Brothers. The movie adaptation of Taito's classic arcade game has been brewing for over a decade now after Warner Brothers bought the rights to spin it into a film back in 2014. The article is by Cheyenne McDonald over at Engadget.com. Uline has reportedly found its screenwriters for the project. Yep. So the screenwriter Greg Russo from Mortal Kombat 2021 had been tapped to write the script, but it seems that some changes have made its way in years since. I guess they're hell-bent on making a Space Invaders movie, but I don't care. I don't think the market really cares for it, particularly if it's like the video game. Says there's no word yet on a release date or how it'll approach the alien invasion story. Video game adaptations have been having a bit of a moment. And our last article is over in WarCrafters. AOL finally discontinues its dial-up internet. We're just surprised they offered it in 2025. Indeed, on September 30th, AOL's dial-up holdouts will need to finally move on to another internet service. AOL announced this week that it will be discontinuing its dial-up service. It's plummeted over the years. AOL has some 1.5 million dial-up users in 2015. As of now, it's reportedly in the low thousands. So this change probably doesn't impact many people, but it's somewhat shocking that dial-up usage has persisted. Stevie Bonifield put the article together. Dial-up days are numbered after 34 years of service. That is insane. Yeah, so it's going to be discontinued. They say, however, ideally efforts are made to continue expanding broadband access as people don't have to keep leaning on slow, outdated internet options like dial-up. But I don't know, these projects are usually much bigger than state budgeting, and who knows where money's going to come from at the federal level. Just don't know. So we are going to broadband our way back into the front page of ohmTown for August 11th, 2025. I'm going to get out of here. I am MayorWatt. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you're downloading the podcast, there's a whole bunch more over on YouTube as well as the podcast itself. 2,000 plus episodes. We've been doing this for 3.5 years now. 3 years, 7 months, 8 months. I mean, we're in the 8th month, but anyway. Go tell a friend, keep in touch, and I hope I see you tomorrow. So see you later. Bye bye.